So the astute amongst you will notice that I'm not in the studio. Yes, don't take the decor. I'm actually in a very nice hotel somewhere else in the world because the beast from the east caught up with me. So for those of you who don't know what's been going on in the UK, we've had Siberian weather. Now I know the UK is meant to be wet, but we can't cope with snow, and we've had lots of it in the UK in the last week. The storm has been nicknamed the beast from the east because it comes from Siberia, and we couldn't cope. So I was working north of Edinburgh, which is in Scotland. Again, for those of you who don't know the UK, and I got stranded. I was cut off for 2 days. So Wednesday and Thursday, I was meant to fly back on Thursday evening. I couldn't fly back on Thursday evening. I drove down to Edinburgh Airport on Friday, which I can tell you now was a particularly hairy drive in a rental car, not my normal car that I drive. So I was really, really glad to get to Edinburgh Airport, only to find that I couldn't get a flight home. In fact, most of the flights were cancelled. So as a quirk of fate would have it, I'm actually going to take a couple of days vacation because they were able to fly me here to warmer climes. I'm actually on the sunny Isle of Jersey at the moment again, rather than be able to get me home. So I've taken a few days off and I'm here. So we're not in the studio, so this rant is not going to be about normal stuff that I would normally do, because all that material is sitting in my studio at home, and I can't obviously bring it up here. So all I'm going to do this week is going to be a short one, as I said. A couple of things sort of come to mind this week. One is last week when I was on the rant, I sort of said about couriers and people not delivering stuff. And I sort of said, the best thing to do with when you're buying stuff is to make sure you use PayPal, make sure you use eBay, and hopefully you'll get your money back. Well, I can give you a big thumbs up. eBay came up trumps. eBay got my money back for me. So the vendor in Japan was not answering my messages to him, was refusing to give me back post and packaging, got eBay involved on Wednesday. On Thursday morning, money was back in my PayPal account. Less than 24 hours. That's the power of using eBay and PayPal. So, big thumbs up. So, a quick update there. The second thing I'm just sort of going to touch on this week is the fact that after last week's video, one of my friends came round, another keyboard player, and he's been given a Yamaha CP to play with. And I've had nothing to do with the Yamaha Reface range, which is what the CP is. And I have to be honest and say, from a sound perspective, I was really impressed with it. However, there are some things about the Reface range that I'm maybe not so impressed about. So, for those of you who don't know, Reface was a series of 4 mini keyboards. I'm not quite sure what Yamaha calls them. That were produced by Yamaha around the end of 2015. So they've been around for about 2 years now. And they produced 4 models in 4 different colours so that you could easily identify which was which. There was a YC model, the red one, and that was all classic organs. There was an aubergine coloured one, which was the FM, which was called the DX, which was an FM synthesis keyboard. There was a CS one, which was a classic synthesizer, analog synthesizer keyboard, and then there was this CP, which was the classic Yamaha stage pianos. You know, the ones you saw ABBA on, Benny from ABBA sort of bashing away on. Right, you get the drift. So they introduced these 4 keyboards, and the whole idea that whereas Roland sort of had been introduced in the boutiques, and the boutiques have been modelled on a specific synthesizer or a specific piece of Roland technology, Yamaha took a slightly different stance with this stuff, and they introduced the Reface range. But for example, the classic organs were classic organs from Yamaha keyboards. They weren't necessarily from a Yamaha keyboard. The DX is not a DX7. A lot of articles around the time were claiming it was Yamaha reissuing the DX7. It wasn't. Such a shame, because I'd love Yamaha to give me a boutique of the DX7 with modern technology, modern MIDI, and a lot more polyphony. But we move on. But there was the DX, which was an FM-driven synthesizer, okay, and you could basically create FM sounds from that. Then there was the CS, which, as I said, was modelled on a number of CS range synthesizers from the early era of synthesis. So these were the classic analog ones, and then let's say CP, okay, and you know. I sort of looked at this, and I've never really played with these, but having a look at this guy's CP like I did, there were a number of things that struck me as Yamaha had got it so right, and then there was a number of things that struck me that Yamaha had got it so wrong. So, what did I think the pros were? It had a keyboard for starters. Okay, so you didn't have an external MIDI source to play the keyboards and make the sounds. It comes with standard 1/4-inch jacks, another massive plus. It has a 12-volt power supply that you plug into it, so it doesn't rely on USB. Major plus point. Major issues with the Reface range as far as I can see. Okay, these are my words. The camera, there they go. These are my fingers, right? I have quite fat fingers. I don't have bony fingers. And the size of the keys on the keyboard are too small for me, and for the life of me, I couldn't play the keyboard. For love nor money, I could not play the keyboard on this thing. I ended up having to take a MIDI cable out and wire it into another keyboard and play the sound from the other keyboard to the Reface. Major issue there. And the other big problem with the Reface range is it's got a really weird MIDI implementation, in that rather than have like the boutiques do actually have a standard MIDI socket on the back of the boutique range, Yamaha have a weird, I think it's 6-pin DIN socket on the back of their Reface unit, and you have to have a specialist cable to run, which then splits off to a standard in and an out for the Reface, that you could then plug a standard cable in, which I just think is there's two issues I see with that. One of them being you're going to lose the cable, and in a few years' time will Yamaha continue selling the cable because it's a weird setup, and the second one is why? It's just another cable, to carry around with you. Anyway, so the only reason I bring this up is because I thought the sound on the CP that my friend brought round and we were playing with was rather superb. However, because I've just bought the MKS20, I have to be honest and say I think it's inferior to the sound of the MKS20. It really is. But for what it is, I think it's actually got some really nice CP sounds. Problem is, they're rather limited in terms of the number of sounds available to you. But there we are. It is what it is. Do I think it's as good as the boutique range? No. Do I think that I would buy one? No. I mean, I was hesitant on the boutique, and I was hesitant on the boutique over things like power and a couple of other areas of it. But I would definitely buy the Roland boutique range over the Yamaha range. Now, if Yamaha were to issue a DX7 in the same boutique style, I think I'd be the first person banging down the door of Yamaha to buy that. But the Reface range, no, it just doesn't hit enough of my buttons for me to even think about it. I've got a DX7. I love my DX7. I'm going to stick with that. Oh well. Anyway, as I said, this week was going to be short. It has been short. I'm not going to take any more of your time up. So, take care. I'll see you next time with a bit of luck from the studio. Bye-bye.
So this is the point in the video where I turn around to you and say, if you enjoyed the contents of this video, please give it a thumbs up. It allows other people to find this content more easily that you have enjoyed. I'm sure by now, if you didn't like the content of the video, you've probably given me a thumbs down, but I'd prefer if you didn't. If you'd like to be notified about when I post additional content to this channel, somewhere about here should be the subscription icon. So please click on there and subscribe to the channel. Over here should be other content that you may enjoy that I've already done or posted to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again.